Karachi, the venue for the Breathe Pakistan International Climate Change Conference, has been shifted due to unavoidable circumstances. Dawn Media said in an announcement on Thursday, the conference, which was originally scheduled to be held at the Jinnah Convention Centre on May 6-7 in Islamabad, has been moved to the Sheesh Mahal Hall of Serena Hotel, Islamabad, the announcement said. Islamabad. The Islamabad High Court, IHC, on Thursday upheld the Capital Development Authority, CDA, decision cancelling lease of iconic skyscraper 1 Constitution Avenue owing to the multi-billion rupees default. IHC Chief Justice Sardar Mohammad Sarfraz Dorkar announced the decision on the appeals filed by M-Session BNP Private Limited and the occupants of flats in the skyscraper.
Islamabad. The weaponization of the country's cybercrime laws is one of the most serious threats to media freedom in Pakistan, Press Freedom Watchdog Freedom Network said. In its report, regulatory repression of freedom of expression, legal controls and PECA undermine media and journalism in Pakistan. The watchdog said that amendments to the Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act, PECA 2016, had created a climate of fear where journalists are compelled to self-censor to avoid legal repercussions.
And India has emerged as the largest user base for ChatGPT Images 2.0 since its launch last week, OpenAI said on Thursday. However, third-party data reviewed by TechCrunch points to a more measured global response. And with limited overall growth alongside sharp spikes in select emerging markets, ChatGPT Images 2.0, OpenAI's latest image generation upgrade, is designed to handle more complex prompts and produce detailed visuals and including accurate text across multiple languages. Early patterns from the company suggest users, especially in India, its largest market, are using it to create personal visuals such as avatars, stylized portraits, and fantasy-themed images.
The entire jury of the Venice Biennale has resigned just 9 days before the inauguration of the prestigious art event, amid growing tensions over the return of Russia for the first time since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. In a brief statement, the jury said it was acting in accordance with its previous decision not to consider countries whose leaders are currently charged with crimes against humanity for any prizes, meaning Russia and Israel.
At least 9 people, including 2 children, were killed in Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon on Thursday, the health ministry said. As violence continues despite a ceasefire now in its second week, the strikes, which Israel said were targeting Hezbollah infrastructure, also wounded 23 people, among them 8 children and 7 women, the ministry said. Warning for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander readers. This article contains references to someone who has died. There has been violence outside an Australian hospital where a man suspected of murdering a 5-year-old girl was being treated. The world's largest electric vehicle maker is locked out of its biggest potential overseas market. But BYD, the Chinese EV behemoth, says barriers restricting it and other Chinese car makers from American consumers won't stop it from maintaining that top spot in an industry transforming how people drive.
Myanmar's detained former leader Aung San Suu Kyi is to be moved to house arrest. State media reported on Thursday, more than 5 years after the military ousted the civilian government she led and jailed the Nobel laureate, Suu Kyi, 80, has been detained by the junta since, and her whereabouts have been unclear amid a deadly civil war that was triggered by the February 2021 coup that has engulfed much of the impoverished Southeast Asian nation.
Skio, a 2020 Y Combinator alum that was founded by self-described college dropout Kenan Frost, has been acquired by competitor Recharge. The companies announced on Thursday. Both Skio and Recharge make products that handle subscription payments for brands. Apple reported a record quarter on Thursday, yet outgoing CEO Tim Cook warned of some gathering storm clouds in the form of memory chip supply issues that could impact business in the near future. Today, Apple is proud to report our best March quarter ever, with revenue of $111.2 billion and double-digit growth across every geographic segment, Cook said during Thursday's earnings call. iPhone achieved a March quarter revenue record, fueled by such extraordinary demand for the iPhone 17 lineup.
And Apple's iPhone sales and services revenue were the stars of the show in the tech giant's most recent quarter, but the Mac quietly outperformed, helped by growing demand for AI workloads. And Wall Street investors had expected to see Mac revenue in the low $8 billion range, but Apple reported $8.4 billion in the second quarter ended March 28. A notable beat for a non-core segment of the tech giant's business. In addition, and investors ahead of earnings believed that Mac sales would be essentially flat year over year. Instead, Mac sales were up 6% on an annual basis, the company told investors. The company's total revenue was $111.2 billion and a 17% increase from the same period last year.
Anthropic is asking investors to submit allocations for the AI company's latest fundraise within the next 48 hours, according to sources familiar with the matter. The round, which TechCrunch reported is expected to be roughly $50 billion, is estimated to close within 2 weeks, the sources said. As we previously reported, Anthropic is targeting a valuation about $900 billion. However, given the soaring demand from investors seeking a stake in the company, the final valuation may well exceed that figure, our sources said.
United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Don Kane have faced public questioning for the second day, this time in front of the Senate Armed Forces Committee. The hearing on Thursday came a day after Hegseth and Kane appeared before a House committee, the first time the pair had faced public questioning from lawmakers since the U.S.-Israel launched attacks on Iran on February 28. The average price of 1 gallon, 3.8 liters of gasoline in the United States has reached 4.30 cents, according to the American Automobile Association, AA, up from less than $3 before the February 28 start of the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Thursday's prices come as U.S. President Donald Trump insists that time is on his side in the standoff with Iran, even as he refuses Tehran's offers of a preliminary deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The first direct commercial flight between the United States and Venezuela has landed in Caracas, ending a 7-year suspension imposed by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security over security concerns. Flight AA599, operated by Envoy Air, a regional subsidiary of American Airlines, departed Miami at 10:11 a.m. ET, 14:11 GMT on Thursday, 5 minutes ahead of schedule, according to airport data.
Palestinian Football Federation President Jibril Rajoub refused to stand alongside Israel FA Vice President Bassem Sheikh Suleiman in a heated moment at the 76th FIFA Congress. Both men were called to the stand by FIFA President Gianni Infantino at the event on Thursday, but Rajoub declined to be brought closer to Suleiman, a Palestinian citizen of Israel. Who? Arsenal versus Fulham what? English Premier League where? Emirates Stadium, London, United Kingdom when? Saturday, May 2 at 5:30 p.m. Thet How to follow. We'll have all the build-up on Al Jazeera Sport from 30 GMT in advance of our live text commentary stream for all the talk of Arsenal having blown their Premier League title hopes after being reeled in by Manchester City. The truth is that come Saturday, they could have re-established a 6-point lead to pile the pressure on Pep Guardiola's side.
US lawmakers have voted to end a 76-day partial government shutdown over opposition to the Trump administration's immigration enforcement operations. Members of the US House of Representatives approved a Senate-passed bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, sending it to President Donald Trump for signature on Thursday. Prosecutors in California have filed a criminal charge against Britney Spears over her arrest last month for allegedly driving under the influence. The pop star is facing one misdemeanor count of driving under the influence of any alcohol and drug. She was arrested on the 4th of March on a Southern California highway after driving her BMW erratically at a high rate of speed, authorities said. Belgium's government has said it is planning to buy its nuclear reactors from French power giant Engie in order to secure the country's energy supplies. Prime Minister Bart de Wever said the deal would involve a full takeover of the nuclear fleet, including Belgium's 7 aging nuclear reactors.
A Ugandan court has sentenced a man to death for killing 4 children at a nursery school in the capital, Kampala, earlier this month. Christopher Okello Onyem was found guilty of fatally stabbing the children, aged between 1 and 3 years old, on April 2.
And President Donald Trump has signed into law a bill to resume funding for the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. After the United States House of Representatives has passed the Senate-approved proposal, the adoption of the bill, which did not include Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, or Customs and Border Protection, CBP, by a voice vote on Thursday, ended an 11-week partial government shutdown.
Reporters Without Borders, known by its French acronym RSF, has condemned Israel for kidnapping 3 journalists on board the Gaza-bound Global Sumud flotilla, which Israel intercepted while it was travelling in international waters. In a post on social media Thursday, RSF said it condemns the kidnapping in international waters by the Israeli army of French correspondent Hafed Mriba and Turkish cameraman Mahmout Yavuz, who both work for Al Jazeera, and journalist Alex Colston, who works for US media outlet Zati.
US President Donald Trump has told reporters that I'm okay with Iran playing in the upcoming Football World Cup, which will be held in North America in June and July. The comments come after FIFA President Gianni Infantino on Thursday said Iran would be present at the tournament and would play in the US.
And Nvidia has laid a new brick in its AI empire. In Ventures, its corporate VC fund has backed Legora, reportedly its first legal AI investment, leveraging AI to help lawyers streamline their work. The Swedish-born legal tech startup is competing with US player.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino has insisted Iran will play World Cup matches in the United States, despite the football governing body's Congress opening without the country's delegation, its absence highlighting tensions and challenges surrounding the tournament. Iran's absence deprived Thursday's Congress of direct representation from a country whose presence at the 2026 World Cup is already shaping behind-the-scenes discussions. And the issue is particularly acute given the tournament's cross-border nature.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has cast doubt on accusations by the United States that Sinaloa Governor Ruben Rocha collaborated with the Sinaloa drug cartel after U.S. prosecutors charged him with having ties to organized crime. My position on these events is as follows: truth, justice, and the defense of sovereignty, Sheinbaum said on Thursday. She added that the U.S. claims lack credibility unless they are backed by actual evidence.
And United States President Donald Trump has said Tennessee will redraw its electoral map following a US Supreme Court ruling that gutted a key provision of the landmark US Voting Rights Act. While the Supreme Court's ruling on Louisiana's electoral map has wide-ranging implications across the country, it also has implications for the broader electoral landscape.
After After Sam Altman trash-talked Anthropic for gatekeeping its cybersecurity tool Mythos by only releasing it to select users, he confirmed that OpenAI would be doing the same with its competing tool. Cybert said in a post on X on Thursday that OpenAI will begin rolling out GPT 5.5 Cyber to critical cyber defenders in the next few days. OpenAI has an application about their credentials and planned use in order to go access. E-planned use